Electrocast.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Wesley demands.
Now, this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What you feel only matters to you. I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or Whatever Movies with Wesley and Iris.
What up, and welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host Iris, and I'm here with my older brother,
Wesley San.
Today we're talking a movie from 1984, a classic. Oh, it's such a softball, Wes. The Karate Kid.
Wait, you watched the 84 one? The old one?
What is going on?
You're supposed to watch the 2010 Jackie Chan one.
No, come on. So, The Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso comes from where?
Something New Jersey. Teaneck, New Jersey or something.
And he lands where?
In the Valley, in Southern California, in, like Reseda.
In Reseda, specifically, which is not far from where I live today. Basically took place in my now backyard. A distinctly Southern California experience. A distinctly Southern California movie. Why is The Karate Kid universally appealing?
Is it universally appealing? Because if you want to corner another market, you do it with Jaden Smith or whatever, and Jackie Chan, you go to China. Okinawa and China, not exactly the same thing.
No.
And he said it's kung fu.
Oh, he says kung fu? Which is funny because people say that the karate that Billy Zabka performs is actually a Korean martial art.
Is it? I don't know specifically, but Pat Johnson, the choreographer, the fight choreographer who plays the referee in Karate Kid at the All Valley Under 18 Karate Championship, he trained in the same discipline that I've earned my stripes in.
Which is?
Kang Soo Do, Muduk Kwan Federation. Now, is that Korean? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's like they call it the Korean karate for like a shorthand.
My dude's name was Sensei John Huff, and he was totally a crease type. He was like an ex-military, no-nonsense, gruff, imposing like white dude, but he had a mustache. And I currently possess a white belt with a double black stripe.
Wow. Is that good?
Yeah. The discipline stayed with me, guided me. It's a guiding principle in my life, and for that I'm thankful, Sensei John Huff.
So you're saying that you don't think Karate Kid is universal? Because I asked Brian, I was like, where does Karate Kid rank on your movies list? Expecting him to be like, like top 10 or something. A seminal movie for a young boy growing up in the 80s. A young boy who practiced karate. I mean, I guess they all did. You all did as a result of the Karate Kid. But he was like, yes, 70. I was like, what?
What?
70?
He's from Ohio, though. It's a totally different world.
Where does Karate Kid rank on your top movies list?
Are we talking about as a fully formed adult who's seen thousands of movies, or how does it rank in my kid nostalgia, like formative movie experiences?
The former.
In all-time movies, yeah, it's not crazy high. It's in my top 25. But I mean, it is so specifically kind of a kid's movie. It's one of those oversaturated. I've seen that movie so many times. I don't know that it's pressing and important in my daily life, but it's always there. It's like family.
Karate Kid feels like a temp title.
It was.
Like you're exactly, right? So, okay, I'm feeling validated here. You're writing a rough draft. You're like, this is about a kid who learns Karate Kid. We'll figure it out later.
Right.
Working title.
And then you call it Karate Kid for the entirety of production.
And then by the end, you just can't shake it off.
But I don't know, Karate Kid is fine. It does diminish it a little bit because it makes it literally a kiddie type movie, right? It's like, it's karate, but it's not Karate Man. It's not Karate Champion. He's a kid.
Karate Man. Maybe this was an important distinction coming from the director of Rocky.
Yeah, but then he was also the director of Rocky 5, so that's not saying a lot.
But maybe, you're expecting adult fare and you've got to set expectations, lower expectations.
It's sort of the point that I was trying to make, that is Karate Kid a good movie? I'm going to say yes, regardless of what anyone thinks. This is definitely a good movie. Maybe the best of the kid movies, but maybe I'm prejudiced. I don't look at this movie and see that's downright silly and unbelievable. It's relatable in the coming of age sense that we talked about with Armageddon Time. What makes it a coming of age? Trials and tribulations and quite literally growing pains. that Daniel-san experiences all throughout this movie. It feels grown up enough that it's like a movie made by adults, not necessarily for kids, but about a kid. Maybe that's the distinction.
Did you get bullied growing up?
Of course, everybody got bullied growing up.
Does everybody get bullied growing up now?
Boys get bullied. Do all boys get bullied now? I'm not sure, because it was a different era. When you were a jock and athletic and not nerdy, that was the cool thing to be. I'm not sure that's the case anymore.
Why did you get bullied?
Because I was fat and ugly.
Aw,
And wore
come
Coke bottle
on.
glasses.
You weren't ugly. Mom says you're cute.
Yeah. I had those lenses that change color in the daylight for my thick glasses that everybody thought was cool.
I mean, were you nerdy? I mean, were you like dorky?
Yeah.
Like socially awkward?
Yeah. I watched wrestling and stuff.
Yeah, who didn't?
I don't know. In the 80s especially. But like all fat, nerdy wrestling kids, when it comes down to it and someone actually takes that bullying and applies it to physical violence, then you beat the crap out of them severely and they don't bully you anymore.
I mean, isn't that the premise of Karate Kid?
Kinda. It depends on your viewpoint. And it's
Well-
why its legacy, has a little bit of tarnish on it, maybe.
It's certainly Miyagi's approach. I mean, he's like, in the conversation after Miyagi's committed to the All Valley Under 18 Karate Championship, he's like, what if I don't win? He's like, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, doesn't matter. They won't mess with you if you prove yourself.
Win, lose, no matter. You prove a point.
Wait, was that at the beach or was it outside of the Cobra Kai dojo?
That specific quote was when he was laid up with the busted leg and saying that he'll never learn balance if he can't win.
Oh, right. Yeah, the theme comes full circle when he's on the table in the midst of the conference fight, in the midst of the championship fight. What were we talking about?
I don't know, the lesson?
So it's Daniel's birthday. How old is he turning?
I think he is turning the exact age required to get a driver's license. He had a bike. He didn't have a dirt bike. He had a 10-speed or something. And then he was gifted the car. So 16, 17 at the outside.
He's at Miyagi's. Mr. Miyagi throws him that sweet little birthday party. And they're wearing hats and he's blowing the party horn.
Yeah.
After he blows out the candles, he remembers that he forgot what?
Oh, shoot. I told my mom I would have dinner with her or meet her for dinner. Oh, it was supposed to be a surprise. I wasn't supposed to know about it. I'm sorry. I'd have dinner with my mom, basically.
Okay. And so where does he go after he receives the car from Mr. Miyagi?
Out into the night as a free individual, a mobile individual.
Yeah, to stalk Allie at the golf and stuff. Was he lying about his mom's birthday party?
I don't know. That's a good point.
This is what I'm saying. This is like my Indiana Jones moment.
Oh, no.
Where I start picking apart the movie that I love and that simultaneously breaks my heart.
Well, like all things turn with the tides, right? And Karate Kid is now, it's a very popular theory. As a matter of fact, it's one of the basic principles of Cobra Kai, the TV show, is that Daniel-san not necessarily the hero in all respects. There's a lot of weight to this idea that Daniel-san is the aggressor and poor Johnny Lawrence is the beleaguered senior trying to make it all work for himself.
But he's only an underdog because he's poor?
Exactly. Johnny Lawrence won't tolerate someone disrespecting him, and so he teaches him a lesson and then completely forgets about it until Daniel-san shows up and gets him all wet in the bathroom at the Halloween dance thing. And all he was doing, he was actually turning away from violence and turning to marijuana, which is like the least violent drug there is. So he was being all meditative, and then Daniel stirred things up again.
Interesting. And then he goes and stirs the pot even further by showing up unannounced at the Cobra Kai dojo.
Yeah, he's learning how to fight to be the aggressor in the situation. And he's recruiting a dangerous veteran to assist him in harming and beating up minors.
Yeah, one elbow to the chest from Mr. Miyagi, and you're rolling around in the dirt for like an hour.
Right? He did kick the one in the nuts too, in the skeleton nuts. But that brings up, Dad was fascinated with this documentary. I think it's on Netflix called The Real Mr. Miyagi or The Real Miyagi. And that focused on Fumio Demura, who just recently passed away this year. R.I.P. Fumio Demura, who was not an inspiration, but one of the advisors and a trainer for Mr. Miyagi, and the person who literally stepped in and kicked ass in a night fight against the fence.
Oh, that was him? That wasn't Pat Morita?
Nope.
Was he also the one doing the crane kick on the post?
That's correct.
Wow.
Pat Morita did his stuff, but he was, an older guy, and he did some fight moves on camera, so he wasn't totally inept, but for some of the heavier lifting, yeah.
No kidding. Because he definitely throws down, and it shocks you, like Yoda throwing down, like he just blossoms all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
He takes those dudes out so quickly, like lightning fast. Although, like in all movies, each of the skeletons waits their turn to actually step into the fray.
Yeah, it's choreographed that way.
Yeah.
And you gotta be facing the camera. It's perfectly blocked.
So, do you know the names of the skeleton gang? Or I guess just the gang?
Yeah. There's Johnny. There's Tommy. There's the guy who's 30, the blonde guy. What's his name? It's like Duke or Bell or something.
Okay.
There is Bobby.
Yes. Johnny,
knows
Bobby,
Bobby.
Tommy, and Duke.
What's the other guy's name? The blonde kid who looks like he's 30.
Jimmy?
Maybe.
And then Danny. And then Daniel's friend is Freddie. What's up with that?
Yeah, Freddie.
Were these just 90s names?
Right?
Or
I don't
80s
know.
names?
Yeah. But come on, you're already giving too much credence to Freddie. Freddie, who's the worst friend I've ever seen.
No, dude. Freddie shows up at the All Valley Under 18 Karate Championships.
Did he get cut or something from the rest of the movie? Because from all appearances, it looked like Freddie was like, peace out to this loser, and left him like bleeding in the sand.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. You have a great choice of friends, Freddie.
Yeah. Where'd you find this guy?
It's so sad. Well, what was Freddie supposed to do?
You got to pick him up, dust him off, and take him to the mystical sensei that he knows lives in the building.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, does Freddie not know about Mr. Miyagi?
No clue. I mean, no one seems to know about Mr. Miyagi. He is like a gremlin situation where you have to like go down the stairs into the basement or whatever and find the dude and like provoke him or unlock his potential. Otherwise, the secret of the Orient remains a secret for centuries.
The Orient. How does Mr. Miyagi make his fortune?
Bonsai.
You don't make a fortune giving away bonsai trees to people.
I mean, what's his fortune? I think he built that entire house himself in what is ostensibly the middle of a junkyard. And he's old, so he probably stole those cars and refurbished them to the point so that they're no longer recognizable. It's not that hard to like fake a VIN number or whatever. That's why he can just afford to give them away.
So he's not in the oil business?
Nope, I don't think so. Never talked about it. His dream in Karate Kid 3 was opening a bonsai shop, which is also right next to the train tracks and has his little paneled old like 50s truck. You don't need money when you have wisdom and patience.
And practical skill.
Yeah, and $100,000 bonsais on the side of the hill and a half a dozen classic cars.
Is it because Miyagi really is the heart and soul of the Karate Kid?
100%, without a doubt.
He's color, he's life, he's wisdom incarnate, he is funny, which shouldn't be unexpected considering Pat Morita was a comedic actor, right?
Yeah, actually a long process. Even after they conceded that he would be a good Miyagi, regardless of his comic past, it was like 5 auditions just to convince them. He was resisted for a long time.
Who else could they have possibly been considering?
Dude, they wanted the man. They wanted Toshiro Mifune.
What?
Yep.
Doesn't Mifune exist in like a completely different cinematic generation?
See, you'd think so, but he actually would have been age appropriate for Miyagi. You just don't think so because you have a different conception of him. Kind of like when it comes around and they're like, wait, Jackie Chan is playing old man Miyagi, or in this case, Mr. Han. But he's kind of age appropriate. He's just really tough.
I mean, Mifune was acting in black and white Kurosawa films.
Yeah, but Kurosawa films were in the 60s, right? The Karate Kid was in the 80s. He would have been an older gentleman, fully capable of throwing down.
But they couldn't get him?
I don't recall why they couldn't get him.
That would have been a different movie.
He either felt that it was the role didn't have a proper amount of gravitas, or it wasn't serious, or whatever, or he might have been too unhealthy or something at the time.
You know, I just had this weird mental image of Mifune like kicking his feet up in the boat.
And laughing.
and like out of control laughing, and it kind of works.
Well, I didn't understand a lot of that, what was happening. Karate Kid is one of those movies. It was released when I was 8 years old, and it was, an adult movie comparatively, but I didn't understand everything that was happening or what was being said. And when he said, "Daniel-san, you all wet the behind the ear," I was like, of course his ears are wet. He was just in the lake.
Oh, he was just making a good old Miyagi joke.
How was that impression, by the way?
Fairly inoffensive. So did Ralph Macchio go straight from The Outsiders to Karate Kid?
Pretty much. It was like right on the cusp there.
Our discussion on which is available at orwhatevermovies.com.
And as noted, he was like the oldest cast member of all those young kids. He was 22 when he was doing the Karate Kid.
But he still had that like beanpole type figure and that cutie face.
Yeah, it's really about the baby face for sure.
You know, even when I was a kid, Ralph Macchio didn't do it for me. But now, as like a middle-aged mom, I'm like, he's so cute. But not like in a sexual way.
Oh, I can say the same thing about Allie. Elizabeth Shue is a perfectly lovely person and a strong actress. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, okay, she was the stakes or whatever. But maybe it was because she broke my heart. But like 6 months out of all the bullying and stuff where this dude stuck up for her and then got his ass beat and then learned to fight. And then she was like, peace out. I'm going to go with this football player after wrecking your car in Karate Kid Part 2.
Oh.
I'm saying they did. Maybe it was the producers, the writers. They did her dirty. And she didn't show up for Part 2. And that tainted Allie and thus Elizabeth Shue for me. Because, of course, as a kid, at 8 or 9 years old, you can't differentiate.
That's it. And it's big time betrayal. Did she have to go and do Back to the Future too? Is that what happened?
She did Back to the Future too after the original lady who played Jennifer had to care for her mom.
And so was that before Karate Kid or after?
Part 2 was 88, if I recall. So it was after.
So she already had Karate Kid fame under her belt.
Oh, yeah.
Elizabeth Shue's aged really well. She's beautiful. And we talked about her performance in Leaving Las Vegas. Our discussion available at orwhatevermovies.com. But she was never your 80s crush?
Nope.
Really? But you're into blondes.
I wouldn't have kicked her out of bed or anything. I'm just saying, like, she wasn't the one that I was like, was a thing. And probably because of her betrayal.
Oh. All right. Any questions for me?
About Karate Kid?
Yeah.
So we were talking about the realism or whatever. And I guess these are all real enough looking kids. I don't think nobody stands out except the old guy Dutch or whatever. But generally when I watch a kid's movie, there's stuff that I'm like, why don't you like that? Why didn't you like this movie? And because it was dumb, because it was for kids and it was inappropriately magical or stupid. And the only thing that really qualifies in the Karate Kid is the healing bit. Right? The magical thing where he puts his shoulder back to rights and fixes his broken leg and lets him move on. It's not like the magical fizzy drink that like smells terrible but heals good, you know? Like
the magic tea that he makes him.
Yeah, he uses the mysticism of the Orient to fix Daniel-san's leg. And I wonder if that hurts the movie.
Yeah, the score, what a great moment for the underscore to like kick in right when he claps his hands and he's about to heal the broken leg. Oh my gosh. And you just feel the power of the Orient. I mean, it's not like he fixes it altogether. He just enables him to keep fighting, right? Daniel comes out. He's still limping. He's babying the foot, whatever. He doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I busted my ankle. I rolled my ankle in March for the 4th time. I was certain that I was going to ruin my entire vacation. And then I got some dry needling done and was walking the next day.
It's psychosomatic.
Maybe, but it worked. Whatever it was, it worked. And maybe Miyagi's whole shtick was all psychosomatic too. And that's just what Daniel needed. Daniel just needed a father figure. Daniel just needed someone who was, perceived as powerful and wise so that he could believe in himself.
He did the crane kick, which is possibly the worst kick for that particular injury because he landed squarely on the bad foot. And you can see it looks a little bit awkward, but it's in keeping with the movie. He does the amazing crane kick, lands squarely on the bad foot, and immediately hops back onto the other foot, so it looks awkward.
Yeah, he's only on the bad foot temporarily. Doesn't he kick Johnny in the face?
And the illegal crane kick? Yeah.
So not only was the kick illegal, but you don't get a point for hitting someone in the face.
Right? It's a major story point in Cobra Kai. It was like, yeah, this kid was bullying me, and so I beat him up. Right. You won with the illegal crane kick and stole my title from me kind of thing.
So how did that get past the millions of referees that were roaming around that tournament?
Number 1, because the referee choreographed that fight. And number 2, because it was freaking awesome. He embraces the wisdom of Miyagi. He channels the ancient Orient secrets and kicks him in the face. And not only like a slow motion thing or a cutaway or something like they don't digitally make them closer than they are like in You People, but he actually kicked him in the face. And
Really?
And so recreating it. Now they didn't recreate it for Cobra Kai, but they used different angles that were never shown in the movie because it's so perfect. It's like a double shot with the referee in the center, the cheering crowd behind, and in one fluid motion he kicks him in the face, and then for some reason Johnny falls on the floor and rubs his face across the mat like a dog after a bath. But it's a fantastic, iconic shot. It looks awesome, and the score is stirring and everything, and it's just, you don't see anything but the glory.
I mean, was Billy Zabka, was he a trained stunt person? Did he take it in the face?
For major studio motion picture fame, you can take a kick in the face from a bare foot. But also, Billy Zabka, for being the kid that they both were, was really solid. And then Ronald Reagan, good looks, kind of pretty boy thing or whatever, he's really menacing, and his karate is aggressive, and I think he was actually taking karate. He's really strong and does that little flip thing where he gets back up on his feet after he clips Daniel's ankle and stuff. He was really strong, literally and figuratively.
And then he does that multi-punch attack where he goes,
Yeah. As one YouTube video guy put it, nobody Kia is quite like Johnny.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And he pushes him out of the ring.
It was just a fusillade of punches. So it sounds like the Johnny character gets his redemption in Cobra Kai. But what about Kreese?
No, Kreese he's a bad guy, and he gets his comeuppance at the top of 2, which is not really a spoiler, I don't think. But no, Kreese is and will always be a bad guy. He's one of those dudes that his meanness and evilness far outstrips his age or ability to fight. If he's not kicking your ass, he's going to find a whole host of young people that he can train to kick your ass to further his agenda.
No, but wasn't he all just traumatized and broken? There's got to be a sympathetic side.
Yeah, for sure. But great bad guy. And Martin Kove is apparently a lovely dude. Everybody loved him in that movie, on that set.
Except when he's being Kreese.
Yeah, well, he, as a character, but he's super nice, apparently.
So, top 3 high school 80s insults from the Karate Kid, go.
It must be take a worm for a walk week. That's legendary.
Which I don't think was in practical use or rotation back then.
That's something that is going to play on TV that you don't have to worry about censorship, but it's a brutal burn.
Burn.
Sick burn, dude.
Okay.
In the Karate Kid.
Yeah, there's 2 more.
Wait, there's only 3? It's not the top 3?
Top three.
Is get him a body bag 1, or is it a name calling insult?
Name calling, along the lines of take a worm for a walk.
Is it Martin Kove, Kreese, saying no one touches the prima donna until the tournament?
That's a pretty good one. I'll give you a point for it. One more.
A head kick point?
Yeah, a fake, a half point. Think about Allie's entourage.
Oh, she must be into fungus. So, is that because he, generally speaking, is a fungus? Kind of a clinger or hanger on or whatever? Or was it because he was in the shower?
Oh. I'm not really sure that any of the insults were logical. Okay, I don't know her name, but one of the friends says, I just don't know what she sees in him.
Yep.
And then the other ponytailed chick is like, What does Allie see in Daniel? Because she is all up on the moment he steps foot on the beach.
Yeah, another thing was suggesting that Daniel is in fact the bad guy of the story is his creepy, unbroken eye contact. That's his idea of flirting. He just shows up on the beach, locks eyes, and stares at her with that goofy grin and never looks away.
And then eventually kicks the ball in sand on their radio.
Yeah, but also Allie tried to get rid of him. They're doing the soccer thing or whatever, and he's trying to flirt, and she's like, here, give me that ball. And she kicks it away, and he's like, oh, I'll get it. And she's like, see ya. She
knows that he's already in for it with Johnny.
Yeah, it's got to be that he stands up for her. Obviously, he's interested in her, blah, blah, blah. She keeps giving him that smile over her shoulder and that awkward staring into the sun smile that she does on the beach. I'm not really sure, but she's, pretty done with him because Daniel's not the good guy. There's a deleted scene. At some point, I think it's after the thing at the country club, she's trying to approach him and he's like, just stay away from me. Just stay away. Just leave me alone. And that's what makes her mad, where after that, he doesn't want to see her. So she tries to avoid him when he comes around and tries to, hey, I'm sorry, I'm a jerk. And she's like, you are a jerk. He's dangerous. That's what she does. She moves from dangerous bad boy to bad boy. And first there's the rich one, who has the dirt bike and stuff and has a checkered past. And then she moves on from him to the other dangerous bad boy from across the tracks. Someone who her parents won't approve of. Because Johnny and all his bad boyness was still someone that her parents wanted her to date.
Yeah, but what was going on with that country club hair?
Yeah, it's like a pancake on his forehead.
Yeah, what is happening?
I don't know. It's a very 80s thing. And try as he might to put on a headband to hold that hair back, it still flops over it when he wears the headband.
Yeah, it does. Well, I'm not satisfied. I think that there was some Ralph Macchio charm that was just kind of lost on me. I can see that he's very confident, that he's got a good sense of humor. He takes things lightly. He takes things mostly in stride. But that's, I guess, the Daniel that the filmmakers have wanted us to see, and not the darker side of Daniel that I guess has come out in Cobra Kai.
I mean, I don't know that he becomes a bad guy or anything. He's not a Sith Lord, but Daniel-san is a complicated enough character in that he's hapless. He has good intentions. Johnny, deep down, as we saw at the beginning of the movie, has good intentions, but Daniel-san was troubled enough, and he had anger issues and attitude that we could see the change in him as he sort of adopted and helped along by Mr. Miyagi, who's arguably one of the best unconventional alt-father figures of 80s or 90s cinema. Everybody loves Mr. Miyagi kind of unconditionally, and he takes a punk-ass kid with an attitude and kind of whips him into shape. And then even when Daniel does kind of school him and say, this is how, practically speaking, I need to be able to learn balance, is to know that I didn't give up when I got hurt, kind of thing. And he helps him along because he's a supportive, amazing, best dude ever. It felt really warm and rounded and legitimately scary. They're not evil people. They're just dumb kids. But it's all the adults are the driving force. It's Kreese and Miyagi in The Karate Kid. And then it's Daniel and Johnny taking over those roles in Cobra Kai.
I see. And so a totally or defies rating?
Oh my goodness. Karate Kid is a totally movie for anyone who is or was ever a kid. I'm going to go with Mr. Miyagi is the most totally character in the history of cinema. Who is inarguably a totally more than Mr. Miyagi? So for that reason, I'll give this movie a totally for all the flaws that it has, none of which I saw when I was under 10 years old. Karate Kid was a cultural phenomenon. It made millions of kids take karate, and it was enough. Because of the discipline and teaching and everything, there's so many good things about this movie. Why wouldn't you want to watch the original Karate Kid? Why do you love this movie? You're not some dude who wants to get the girl at the karate tournament.
I think that this is a total instance of transference, where I just think it's cool to like Karate Kid. And
yeah,
so
but
somehow
you watched Karate Kid independent of me and had a great time doing it, I'm convinced.
Yeah. In my 40s. I'm not saying that, so that stuff dies hard. It doesn't go away. And it's thoroughly entertaining. But yeah, it's like a movie I love because you love it.
Because I love it specifically?
I mean, what stakes does the Karate Kid have for me?
Dude, 37 when filming Karate Kid for Randy Heller.
Who plays Lucille, Daniel's mom, Mrs. LaRusso?
You're old.
37? That means she had Danny when she was 17.
No, if he was 17, she was 20. She didn't have Ralph Macchio.
Oh. Still 20.
On you, Huskies. She was vibrant, vivacious.
She's a great mom.
You think she's a great mom because she's not like our mom, where you're supposed to do a thing and she's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. You should go to that party. Why wouldn't you go to that party? And leave me to unpack all this crap by myself. Where Daniel, the bad kid, is like, thanks, Mom. See ya. I'll leave all this work to you so I can go give creepy, unbroken eye contact to this blonde girl.
She just feels guilty for having dragged him clear across the country.
She buries Judy. Yeah, Judy never kicked my soccer ball across the beach. Daniel has issues, and I hope that he finds the wisdom and focus. He's very lucky to have found Mr. Miyagi.
Totally from Wes, and to piggyback totally from Iris, that's our discussion on The Karate Kid from 1984, available on Roku with ads.
Ultra high definition, Amazon Prime, as of this recording, $5. Come on, it's $4 to rent it, just buy it.
Amazon, please sponsor us. If you enjoyed this discussion, you can check out 200 plus other discussions on your favorite movies at orwhatevermovies.com or wherever you get podcasts. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Today is working for me. Do you believe that for yourself? Hey, I'm Pastor Julie, and I want to empower you through encouragement. Inviting you to my podcast, Big Truth Encouragement, where I unpack living a faith-filled life. I created my podcast for the ladies, but gentlemen, you'll gain something too. So I invite you to listen to Big Truth Encouragement on Electricast and any platform where you listen to your podcast.
Electricast. Have you ever wondered what actually happens in Congress every day? Stay informed on Capitol Hill's daily happenings with a concise, factual summary of the Senate and House of Representatives' activities from the previous session, free from bias, on the Congressional Record Daily Digest podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and discover the process from the heart of U.S. politics. The Congressional Record Daily Digest, an Electricast production.
Electricast. Electricast.